Hola, hi everyone. Welcome to Miracle Wednesdays. Before I begin, I wanted to just ask you if you can hear me because I have new headphones. So, can you guys hear me? I'm curious. Let me know if you can hear me. I have my husband gave me these for my birthday, and I'm trying them out. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Miracle Wednesdays. How are you? Yes, thank you, Susan. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, everyone, welcome. Today we have an incredible live, and I'm gonna have a special guest today. I want to do something different. Hi, Doug. Good morning. I usually do these Miracle Wednesdays on my own, but my amazing assistant, German, suggested that I begin to do interviews with other course students and teachers. And this amazing soul came up on our radar. He's consistently posting about the Course in Miracles and tagging my page, this page. And it's such an honor and a privilege. So I figured I'd have him on here today and to share about his Course in Miracles journey. But before I begin, I wanted to go ahead, and before I introduce him, I want to go ahead and share a lesson from A Course in Miracles to get the energy going, and then I will present Anthony. Anthony's there. Maybe I should get him. Maybe I should do that before. Maybe I should bring him in before. Let's see if that works. Hello, hello, hello. All right, I saw him requesting, so I want to make sure I get him in here. Hey!
Hi.
Hi, Anthony, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. Sorry to interrupt during the middle of the lesson.
No, thank you for doing that because I don't know, this is new for me, so I took the opportunity. So thank you for making it so easy, actually. Thank you for making it so easy.
Thank you for having
But yeah, I'm so excited. I got prompted by Spirit to share a lesson that we can kind of backpedal on and share about, and it's lesson 310, and the lesson says, "In fearlessness and love, I spend today." So how appropriate, right? In fearlessness and love, I spend today, and I get goosebumps just even saying that, because it's so powerful. So for you guys that are watching, you can take these words into your hearts as a meditation or a prayer or whatever feels good for you. This day, my Father, would I spend with you, as you have chosen all my days should be. And what I will experience is not of time at all. The joy that comes to me is not of days nor hours, for it comes from heaven to your Son. This day will be your sweet reminder to remember you, your gracious calling to your holy Son. The sign your grace has come to me, and that it is your will I be set free today. So let's just take that into our hearts and just invite Spirit into this beautiful Instagram live that we can use for the purpose and the function of healing. And we want to go ahead and bless Anthony today for being here, for using his body, for using his voice to be able to share love today. And a little bit about Anthony. I'm going to make this really spontaneous just because I want it to come from my heart. So let's see what comes up. So one thing that comes up is Anthony's big willingness. Of course, the Miracle says all you need is a little bit of willingness and miracles happen. And he does have that little willingness, but he just has that really big willingness to share from his heart and share the Course in a very fun, practical way. The little bit that I know about his personal life and career, he is an actor, which I can totally relate to because I was an actress for over 20 years in Los Angeles. So I can totally relate to acting and the creative part behind that. He's also an acting teacher and acting coach. And for me, a beautiful soul in this world, a brother that is so willing to show up and live the function of being truly helpful, which is what the Course calls. So this is actually my very first interview on Miracle Wednesdays, Anthony. So I'm so excited for you to be the first one to kind of kick off this energy. And what better person than you to kick us off? So thank you. Thank you for being here and welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's an incredible honor. I feel completely honored and completely privileged to be on interviewing with you and be continuing to work and to hear such beautiful compliments about something that I've dived into relatively or not that long ago, about a year and a half ago. So, but it's moved me and inspired me in a deep way. And to see you come into my life this way, I can't help but feel it's serendipity. Also, you're from Miami, and I'm from Fort Lauderdale.
Yes. Oh, interesting.
Are
That
you?
is so cool.
¿De dónde eres? Just curious.
Well, I'm Cuban, so I was
Yeah,
born and raised in Miami, but my parents are Cuban. So how about you?
beautiful. I'm Cuban, Puerto Rican, Italian. My father's Cuban, and my mother's Puerto Rican Italian from the Bronx, and then they met in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and had
Oh,
three. So
oh my God, that's such a coincidence. What a small world. I actually live in Naples, Florida now,
nice.
and you're living in the East Coast. Are you living in New York?
I am in Astoria, Queens, New York.
Okay. Wow, that's courageous. It's courageous to live
It's crazy
in New York right now. Wow.
and cold, but it's gotten it's the fall happens and it's exciting. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that wherever if you're also studying the course, you make wherever you are happy, the best that we can, right?
That's right.
That's awesome. Well, German, my amazing assistant, German has been working with me since 2017 that my book came out, and he's been like a devoured like ambassador and really, really helpful. And he just brought your name to my attention, and I trust him. So I'm like, let's do it. And I had seen you come up on here various times. So
And I've
let's
tagged
jump right. Go ahead.
and I've tagged you so many times as well.
Yeah, it was just getting very obvious. I think Spirit was making it very obvious for this collaboration and exchange, and I'm so
Yeah.
filled with wonder. I feel that when two people come together and collaborate, it's a very strong force energetically. So I'm really excited. So my first, so basically, Anthony and I are gonna have a little conversation like brother and sister. So and you guys are hanging out with us, but I did want to start with the question of anything you want to share about the course or how it's come into your life or how you feel about it, and whatever spontaneously comes through is fine. So tell us a little bit about the course and your relationship to it.
Yeah, we can just chat spontaneously. So I've always been an avid reader of spirituality. I've loved Esther Hicks and Law of Attraction and things like that. And actually, I came about the course a little bit in a dark time in my life. I experienced a breakup with someone who I was deeply in love with, and he actually introduced me to the course, and also to Marianne Williamson, who's so my muse and my mentor through the course. And I picked it up. That's actually not entirely true. So a girlfriend of mine, Federica, had actually lent me the book over a decade ago. And when I picked it up and opened it, I found it to be, as many people I imagine do, very dense and not for me. Now, fast forward a decade later, and at the end of the breakup, he introduced me to the book and bought the book for me, which of course makes sense in terms of how we understand our brother, right? And our relationships, whether they are casual encounters or they are ones in which have a lasting impact. And I just dived into the book, and Maria, it has changed my life. It has changed my soul. It has redirected how I see the world, see my purpose, see my family, see God. And I feel so full, and I feel inspired. And part of that inspiration that came from the course was writing my own curriculum. Out of nowhere, I decided that I wanted to write a curriculum which was basically structured to be a master class, and that was called Acting in Spiritual Principle. You can hear the tie, right? And really what that was is I wanted to bring this beautiful work, the stuff that I've learned from the course, into my classrooms as a teacher. And not necessarily explicitly, right? Not necessarily these exact words, but in some way infuse those ideas into how we compassionately engage with each other and love each other. And then just even into my in life as well, with all of my relationships. The workbook has been an incredible life force and a wake-up call as well, especially right now during the pandemic. That's really also right at the end of the pandemic, I had the breakup, and right at the end of the pandemic, I had the wake up. So here we are.
I feel that relationships is something that really moves us towards, especially when there's heartbreak involved. It's just so overwhelming sometimes that it takes us into a really dark place. And I can see and understand and relate to the course really helping you and giving you those tools and teachings that really completely so radical, because the course is non-dual. So there's no duality. There's nothing opposite than love. And we're taught that there is duality. There's love and fear. So I'm so happy that you're able to find the course. And so many people I've heard as well do what happened to you like 10 years ago, and you just we weren't ready for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's so interesting. Now, talking about relationships, how did the course help you overcome that heartbreak?
It's a great question. Well, I think it goes right into a very...
Because I'm sure there's might be people watching this that are going through heartbreak right now. So
Oh, yeah.
let's be helpful here, right?
Of course. One of the main principles in the course is the principle of atonement. And what that means is essentially undoing of fear and to take accountability for what those feelings are. You have to bring the darkness to the light. And what that means is essentially, in common terms, is where was my part in all of this? What was my part in why this breakup happened? In what way was I clinging, or was I attached to whatever? So what the course provided me was an internal guidance in terms of to see what was going on with me. Like in this world, it's very easy, and in many relationships, to put the blame, right? So much to put the guilt on the other. And so much what the course brings light to is the innocence and the sinlessness of everyone. The idea, the principle of forgiveness, the idea that we are all one, and that beyond the level of the perception of the physical lens, there's somebody who is wounded or perhaps is doing the best that they can do. And to practice in the footsteps of Jesus, which is unconditional love, how can I be more elevated, more miracle-minded? How can I be more loving? Because the relationship was a laboratory for me to learn about myself. And
Yes.
be a teacher for them, and therefore for anyone around me. It's not one case, it's all case. It's a subconscious moment. So I feel like it's a very deep question. I love that question because it's something I'm still...
Well, you're answering it. You're answering it great. And one of the things I'm really hearing that's really, really, really helpful is that sense of responsibility, and not being a victim of it. Because I feel that when we're heartbroken or our relationship is ending, we can go there to that victimization. We can go there to poor me, or what's wrong, or I wish this person would love me, or I wish this would work, or yada, yada, yada. So just that sense that you just brought to the table of, you know what I did, I took responsibility. And not only that, my practice of forgiveness. Now, the Course in Miracles and forgiveness is something so radical, because forgiveness is helping you to overlook of what you think your brother did to you is not true. And that already is like a whole nother conversation we could have for like 5 hours. But you were able to use that relationship. And I love how you said that, the relationship is like a classroom, and we're learning through it, versus like there's something wrong here and this is wrong. You start to let go of the judgment of the purpose of relationships as well, I think, when you're studying the Course.
That's right. And I love that the Course also invites us to look at our experience here as a soul growing experience. And so for me to be able to practice this on a daily basis is very challenging, but also has been rewarding, because it's opened up, I think, new ways of seeing conflict and challenges, which I think can be completely analogous to everything, whether that's looking at what's going on politically in the world or anything, any problem we have, that we can come back to some internal principle or way of standing that we know how to react from a place of love and not fear. And
Mm.
it's so interesting that you read that lesson today. Also, it's something that just like you go to the gym, Marianne says this all the time, you know, you can't go to the gym and then one time you're like, oh, I'm done. All my muscles are done. I don't have to work out anymore. It's the same thing with spiritual practice. Like if I'm not doing the daily meditations, or I'm not orchestrating my mind and my center and my core to these ideas, then I'm at the effect of the outside world, and I'm at the
Yes.
effect of being you, what you did, as opposed to from that place within that's like, well, what can I transform this into for the good of my own peace and also for him, for her, for everyone else. I think that that's the ultimate calling here, is to help the other. And what I love, that I don't know the exact page, but you cannot save unless you yourself have been purified, or allowed yourself to be purified. So that's the constant work, so that you can become guided and clear away whatever clutter or grievances. One of the things the Course says is you can have a grievance or a miracle. You can't have both. You cannot have both.
Well, Anthony, you have like a lot of fans here, because I don't know how many hearts are coming up here. There's like hearts galore and more hearts. There's like so many hearts. Thank you guys. You know, the responsibility part again, going back to that. I just want to clarify that it's not that you're responsible for what's happening, but rather you are responsible for how you're experiencing it. So in relationships, so
Well,
in so in relationships, when we take that responsibility of how we're gonna experience it, it's very empowering, because then it's not that it's not gonna hurt, but your willingness to take that responsibility can really be the gateway for you being released, and not feeling so much pain throughout the breakup, because you are taking responsibility for what you're thinking and believing about him, about the situation, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a huge part of it too.
that's beautifully put, Maria.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
on top of it, there is something to go deeply into with the Course as well, is that there ultimately isn't really a breakup. It's what we call it, right? There isn't a separation. It's just a shift in proximity, or something alters in how we relate to each other. But this could go on for 5 to 10 hours, so I'll stop talking.
Yeah, no, I love talking about relationships, just because I know that it's very helpful. Also, if anyone has any questions, let us know. We would be happy to answer them as best as we could. So the lesson today was in fearlessness and love I spend today. So when we're talking about fearlessness, and that's also something that I think as an actor, sometimes it could come in if we're like on audition or just life in general. How do you, what's your process in dealing when fearful thoughts come up?
Good question. To acknowledge them, to accept them, and to meditate, to find stillness, and to find your breath. There are technical ways, of course, of incorporating your breath or breathing techniques, but the mentality, the principle is to know that that is not real. And what is real is love. And the more that I can practice that thought to radiate love towards my casting directors, toward my fellow actors, to get over myself. It's not easy to do. It's such, you know, this is it can be a very egocentric career, but it doesn't have to be. And the more that I practice that, the more that I feel like I relinquish an attachment to the results, and I allow myself to dive into the whole purpose to begin with. Why am I there? And that is to share whatever my gifts are. And I think I know what my gifts are, right? I'm like Shakespeare. I think it's this and then that. And ultimately, I don't think we really, really, truly know. But I had this experience recently, actually, the other day, where I'm doing a reading on Zoom of Pericles, Shakespeare, with this cast. It's an all BIPOC class. It's the Red Bull Theater. And I've done this before, where you're in a Zoom setting and you're kind of, it's awkward, right? You have a green screen, you're sitting in a chair and you're doing theater. And it's very easy to move and just think about your thing and whatever. And I found myself completely captivated and present with my other castmates, and just being able to look at them and radiate how a sense of love for them and what they're up to, and trust that we can do it together in the present moment. And it was a thrilling moment to kind of allow that to happen. It's scary, but it also is worth it. It's rewarding. So much of what the Course talks about is the idea of the fear of what's to happen, or the longing of what went wrong before, and that we miss out in the gift of the present moment, the intersection right in the middle, the present moment, the now. So I think the more that an actor or any artist or anyone, before they go into a meeting or whatnot, is able to first breathe and remember who you are, which is not this identity. You are there to teach, and you are there to be loving.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. That's so powerful, and I can't help but say that that's everything. Every time there's a miracle, anytime we have a shift of perception, anytime we could come back to love, anytime we could look beyond the veil of illusion, it's everything. And I see it all the time. I was like, that's it, that's it, that's it. That's why we're doing what we do, you know? And the sense of fearlessness, and I love how you shared a personal story, because for me also is when fear's coming up, and I love that you acknowledged that you don't, I feel like the less we judge it, the better. Because a fear comes up, and then we start to get, a little bit, scared or whatnot, and then we start to judge that we're feeling that way.
Yep.
Instead of, I'm a hot mess, or I don't know, I can't remember who I am right now, and I'm going to be gentle, and I'm going to be filled with grace. It's like, I'm not supposed to, especially if you're a course student, I'm not supposed to be feeling this way. No, I'm too spiritual. Let me brush it under the rug. Ha, ha, ha. No, it doesn't work that way. I always say you got to feel it to heal it. So I love how you said, you have to just look at it and be like, oh, wow. Sometimes it's so interesting, because when you start to do forgiveness often, it starts to become very automatic, in the sense, like, I start to catch myself. Anthony, I find myself sometimes arguing with my husband, and I'm actually trying to cry. I'm like, can I cry now? Like, I literally try to force tears out of my eyes. I was like, I totally want to be mad right now, but I can't, because I'm so aware and I'm discerning of how ridiculous I'm thinking. Like, it's just so ridiculous. And then I feel that when we start, one thing that I do actually that's coming up right now is I choose peace first. So that's my process. So instead of, when I was an actor, I would do this too. It's like, instead of I want the job, I would say I want peace. Instead of like, I want to get this raise, I say I want peace. So it's like the prayer is peace first. So, because I don't know what's my highest will. I don't know what's the best will. God knows what's the best will. So let me get out of the way of what I think is the best for me, and give it over to God as a gift, which is true prayer. The Song of Prayer talks about the ultimate gift is just really giving thanks and giving it over to God as a gift, and let it be his will. So my biggest prayer is peace first, and then regardless of it, if it happens or not, I get to be peaceful. Now, is it easy sometimes? Absolutely not. But I have to say that the more we practice it, the easier it gets, and the more automatic it gets. That you'll be trying to cry. You'll be trying to cry.
The more that you'll feel inspired to know how to handle the situation. So it's not saying, I'm going to deny it, I'm going to close down and get into my peaceful state, and it's all about tranquility and peace. Not that those are bad things, but it's, that is the direction to go. That is the truth of where you want to be, so that you can understand how to handle whatever issue in the best, most IQ enlightened way you can, most elevated way of doing it, as opposed to going on automatic to what the ego thinks is the right way of handling it.
Oh, yeah, that's such a good point.
The right use of the mind. I love that you said that. I think it's important that you also can, through the Course, you'll understand where the issue is coming from is never from the outside. It's always something that is within. So when you go, as you're saying, you meditate or you think on this from a conscious internal state of, I know I want peace first. You start there, and then your vision is given you. You allow God's vision to come through, as opposed to what I think the Course talks about as a magic thinking. Let me direct how to do this, as opposed to quiet, be still and know, so that you can be a conduit through which the expression of love can be given and therefore received. So it's not denying that there's a problem there. It's denying that the problem has the power to really control my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's very, very powerful. You know, there's a beautiful thing that Byron Katie says a lot, and I feel that her process of the work is like forgiveness on steroids, really. And one thing that she says is that the world begins and ends with you. And that's what the Course says in another way, which is you are, you know, it starts with you in the sense of how you're going to feel or how you're going to take something or your beliefs. So I feel that what you just said is so powerful in the way, and what was coming up for me is, you know, this is what I'm about to say now is really, really radical, and it's very, very deep. But if I'm saying it, it means that, you know, we can handle it in some way. The people that are watching, is there's, you know, there's only really one hanging out here.
Yeah.
So whenever I think that my husband, let's say for instance, he's my master teacher because I live with him, he's my husband. Whenever I think that he's the reason of my upset, I always need to go inside. I need to check it out. I need to check it out. So there was a long time that I was thinking, well, my husband is German, so his personality is very different than Cuban, right? It's very different. So,
Is he also
right? They can see, they can see the opposite.
Is he also your assistant as well? I'm hearing German.
Oh yeah. So German is my assistant, which contacted you, and then my husband is German, like literal German. Yeah. So he's the one that's like, you know, very straight, and I'm more like cheeky, 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 you know. So that's the dynamic of it. So sometimes for a long time, and because of his upbringing, what happens is in our upbringing, we begin to have mental constructs, you know, we begin to mold into certain personality traits and actually aspects of ourselves that are very limiting that we're actually working on. And one of the things that I used to take very personal in my relationship with him was that I felt that he was mean. And it wasn't that he was per se mean, but it was coming across mean because I'm used to light, you know, Latin, you know, very easygoing, you know, not so stern. So I made it my...
No.
Yeah. So I was perceiving him as he was mean. And what I did is through forgiveness is that I realized that, okay, if there's only one here and I feel like I'm being attacked right now, what's really real here? That's actually a beautiful prayer I do is, Holy Spirit, show me what's really real here. What is the truth about my brother? What is the truth about me? And what I received is that I am mean to myself. I was like, what? Yeah. And I can totally see it. I was like, oh my God, I am mean to myself with the way that I talk to myself sometimes. And so I took responsibility for that. And little by little, I realized that he was just projecting to me something unconscious in me. And
Yeah.
it's not that you take abuse in a relationship. It doesn't mean that you take somebody treating you bad. But what I am saying is that when you take responsibility, you have exactly what you were saying earlier. You have a sense of clarity that you come from, and then you can take an action or whatnot. In my case, I didn't have to go that far because I realized that I had a distorted perception, and he was just being German. He was nothing wrong. He was just being what his parents brought him up, and it's not personal. It has nothing to do with me. And hence forgiveness had taken place. And that's pretty much an idea of what the Course calls forgiveness.
I love that. It's beautiful. You didn't ask for a change in him. You asked for a change within you. You didn't ask for a problem to be solved out there. You asked for a miracle. Mm-hmm. I mean, the idea that I'm going to shift from a place of fear to love and call forth a solution it's a difficult thing to do, but that's a beautiful story. Beautiful story.
I was just about to say that, Anthony, it didn't, it sounded in the story that it happened in a moment, but it didn't. It took like a months of really, really, massaging it. Like, gosh, man, he's pissing me off, or there he goes again, or,
I,
it's like,
that's going to keep going, though. That's a lifetime assignment. Let's be real. You'll always get the next thing. It's always
yeah,
growing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you're better at it as you go, and then the next thing, and the next thing, and the next
But
thing.
I love the part that you said about that Marianne told you in regards to like really working it and practicing it. And that's
Like,
something I actually wanna close with, and we could talk a little bit about, is about how important the practice is. I feel that, I found the course in 2001, actually reading Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And I remember that one of the reasons I really struggled with the course for so many years was because I was compromising its teachings. I wasn't really living it. Like, I'll be like, oh, I am love, and then 2 days later I'll be looking for love outside of me, and the guy I'm having a dinner with. So there was like this, but I am abundance, but I'm gonna worry about money. So I feel like the practicing and really integrating and walking the talk as best as we can
as best we
is
can.
super helpful. It's very, very helpful. It's very, very helpful as our willingness to forgive consistently, the best that we can, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But like you said, it takes practice. We need to want to, seguir machacando.
Sí, y yo entiendo, pero yo no hablo completamente. Um, you don't know unless you try, unless you pick up the book, unless you create stillness, unless you quiet your mind. And it's something I incorporate every single day. And for each person, it's unique and it's different. You know what I mean? It might be taking a walk, whatever it is that you can establish a responsibility for your peace, a responsibility for your love, then you are better off in this world and in everything that you do, and for other people as well. It is something I hope to bring more to the industry, the acting industry, and also to all of my relationships. It's something I'm actually applying to do a speech for Broadway TEDx to talk about acting and spiritual principle. So that,
Wow, I love that idea. That's
and that's
awesome.
cool, to bring this
Yes.
in the consciousness of the community,
Mm-hmm.
so that the more, I think in the course it says, divine abstraction takes joy in expansion. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, grows as it is with more minds are joined. Um, so I hope that answered your question, or if we have any final questions before we
Yeah.
run.
Yeah. No, that was great. Being that I was an actor, I feel that that is so helpful to bring the spirituality aspect and this tool to actors, just because I don't know, and from my experience and my experience of other fellow actors and being in Los Angeles and in Hollywood, we tend to make it very real. And we tend to really, when I mean real, is that we make it like matter so much. Like, we got to get the job, and there's
Yeah,
this sense of, there's not there. So I feel that bringing in the spiritual aspect, I mean, I'm saying everybody does that, but we tend to get really fixated on, we want the job, and then you have all this competition. So it's like dealing with the auditioning and the other people that are out for the roles, and how cool if there's these tools of a course that you can bring them in a very natural, neutral way, that they can experience the auditioning process differently and experience the rejection. It's not really rejection, but you know what I mean?
that's right.
Differently. So I think I love that. I actually read that in your bio, and I think that's incredible that you're doing that. And that's going to be a huge service, because let me tell you, as an actor, that's why when I became a teacher, a spiritual teacher, I decided I was going to make it fun, and I wasn't going to make it matter so much. And and the success has come pretty rapidly because I don't let it define me. As an actor, I did, and
Yeah.
I suffered a lot. So it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
So I love that you're doing that, Anthony. I really love that you're doing that. That's
Thank
great.
you. Teach us to demonstrate. So as I'm teaching, it's about learning it myself. So
Of
you
course.
know what I
Of
mean?
course. That's
So I'm
so
actually,
powerful.
let's have a chat another time, because I'd love to pick your brain more about your experience of transitioning um, from acting to teacher. Uh,
Yes.
when
Yeah, we can, whenever you want, we would love to do that. We can have a chat. outside of here. So I would love that. I wanted to end with how, because German brought my attention that you do some stuff with Marianne, or she's your friend. So I wanted you to tell us a little bit about her, just because, I've had some interactions with her in LA and such. I don't know her very well, but she helped me find the course. So I'm very grateful for her.
Marianne is not a friend of mine directly. I know her indirectly through a friend of mine named Michael Pereira. And I've just been obsessed with following Marianne and reading all of her books and watching all of the courses and taking any workshop I can. And I actually was lucky to speak with her twice on a couple of her workshops. And I cannot tell you how eternally grateful I am for her being a spokesperson and a way maker for the course for me. She's made it sexy. She's made it fun. She's made it also poignant and timely to how we understand the world today in terms of being engaged in politics, and how to think of spirituality something active, as an active force within the world. I can't wait to have champagne with her.
I love it. I love the way, and for those, I mean, sure, most of you know who she is, but if you don't, Marianne Williamson, she's a great course teacher. But I love the way she brings the practicality aspect of it. She makes it very, very tangible. And she was one of the first, like, even Return to Love. It's incredible. So thank you so much, Anthony. I'm really excited. I just want to thank, there's a couple people that have given badges. So thank you, German, for your badge, and then Susan, for your badge. This is the first time I do badges. German says, you know that you can do donations? So I have three.
My mother's, but I wonder if it's my mom.
Let me see. I'll tell you now. It's Susan Weinsberg, light worker.
No, it's not. Okay.
Okay. Mom, if you're watching, give us a badge. So I've never done this badge. It's so much fun. I think that's so cool.
Badge is, but thank you for badging.
Thank you for badging. All right, Anthony. Well, this is going to be available on YouTube next week. So we'll definitely share with you the link. And it's just been such an honor, again, and a privilege to sit down and talk about the course together. Because as I say, as I say to my one-on-one clients, there's like this invisible healing energy that occurs when two or more are gathered. So yeah, I'm grateful.
I'm grateful too, and lovely to meet you virtually.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. And let's have a little reminder on the lesson that popped up today, which is in fearlessness and love, I spend the day. So let's try to do our very best to live up to that. Fearlessness and love I spend today.
Amen.
Amen, amen, amen.
Amen.
Bye, brother. Amen, mi hermano. Bye. Till next time. Bye, everybody. Till next Wednesday.